5 reasons you are stuck in your revision. Hi, I'm Hayley from Parallel Coaching, and a massive warm welcome to this video whereby I'm literally gonna break down the 5 reasons why you could be stuck in your revision. Now, it doesn't matter what you're revising for. In fact, drop a little comment below this video now, just so I know what it is that you are revising for. And as I go through, I'll answer any questions that you've got as we get sort of towards the end of the 5 reasons. So please do drop any questions underneath now. So of these 5 reasons, these are the things that we've seen as common trends with learners that are studying for any of their fitness exams. So you could be on your level 3 anatomy, level 2 anatomy, level 2 principles, level 3 nutrition, whatever it is, you could be stuck in any of these 5 areas. And I guarantee that one of these is where you are right now. I'm going to explain how you can dig your way out of that sort of stuck in the mud feeling about your revision. And the feeling of being stuck is horrible. It's exactly that. Like, you literally feel stuck in one place and you feel like you're not making any progress forward. So what I really want from this video is that you take one of these 5, you recognise that that's where you're getting stuck, and you use those tips and advice I'm going to give you throughout so that you can move forwards and get much more momentum leading you to pass your exam. That's what we want. So the first of these 5 areas is that you don't have a goal. So one of these 5 reasons why you are stuck in your revision is because you haven't set that goal in place. Now, just drop in a comment now, whilst you're here with me, drop in the comment saying when your exam is. Have you got that exam date booked? Now, if you can't put a formal date in that comments box, it's already a sign that this is the one you're getting stuck on, because you don't have that goal in place. So first of all, make sure your exam is booked. Now, this is kind of like training. If you're exercising every day, it's easier to do that and easier to have structure to that if you have a set goal. So let's say, for example, you want to achieve a PB in a run, let's say a 10k run or something, you want to achieve a PB. You have a date that you're going to achieve that by, and that gives you that goal to focus on. It allows you to structure out your weeks and lead up towards achieving that PB. And you've got moments in between that you can check your progress. The same applies for your revision. You want to make sure that you've got a firm goal, and then on the lead up to that goal, you can then structure each week and the revision that you're doing each week to help you achieve that goal. And that gives you little mini goals along the way. So in the 10k purpose, it might be to knock 2 minutes off your 10k. Well, you might need to work on your distance for a little while, and then you might need to work on your speed for a little while. They give you mini goals throughout the bigger goal. So the first reason why most people feel stuck in their revision is because they don't have a set goal. So that's my first challenge for you. If you don't have that goal, make sure you set your goal. Second reason is that you're relying on tactics and not strategies. What's the difference? So a tactic is something small, a technique that you're using, or a mode, rather than a strategy is the whole system in place. So to expand on this further, let's think about that same event where you're training for your 10k race and to get a PB. Really think about that. The tactics are that you're going to use squats, that you're going to run on a treadmill and not on the road, that you're going to have these different modes, okay? So the exercises you're going to do. It's the very finite detail of what you're going to do. Whereas the strategy is that you're going to increase your mileage over a period of time, or that you're going to work for a certain amount of time in your anaerobic threshold, that you're going to use cruise intervals throughout, that you're going to work on your VO2 max. That's the strategy behind it, the theory, the why you're doing it. So you need to focus on the strategy of your revision in the exact same way that you would focus on the strategy of your training. So you want to make sure that you've focused on that strategy and not the tactics. So the strategy is going to be knowing what you're studying on each day, breaking down each of the content that you need to learn. So in most examples, for example, the level 3 anatomy or the level 2 anatomy, you've got 8 modules of information that you need to know. And if you know your goal date, your set goal ends on the 1st of December, then you've now got so many weeks, so 8 weeks, to be able to spread out your 8 modules of content that gives you a strategy. And your strategy might be to follow a series of those videos like what we have in our Revision Mastery Bootcamp, and you structure those over that time. And you follow that strategy the whole way through, which adds a huge amount of structure to your revision. And that's very different from opening up the manual and just picking out various little pieces or searching on YouTube. It gives a much more concrete structure that you know will lead you directly to the achievement of your goal. And that's why you need to rely on a strategy and not the tactics. So far we've had that you haven't set a goal and that you're relying on tactics and not strategy. The next one is that you're focusing on the wrong stuff. Quite often people are focusing on mock questions and making sure that they're getting above 70% on their mock questions, and they're focusing on the little things. So the little things are understanding the finite detail as if you're doing a doctorate. And I've got to say, you don't need to know that level. So sometimes you'll come across something, let's say sliding filament theory, and you come across this content and you're looking at it and you're like, oh, I kind of understand the principle. You probably understand everything you need to for the exam, but you get caught in your head that you need to know it so much deeper. So you go onto Google and you start searching, you start looking at YouTube videos, and it opens up a whole big can of worms. And before you know it, 2 hours have gone past and you're learning doctorate level sliding filament, action potentials. You're learning everything you possibly can on the smallest amount of detail, which isn't needed in order to get the result in your exam or as a Fit Pro. So remember that it's about focusing on the things you need to know for your exam, not focusing on the tiniest little bits of detail just because you need to feel like you know it all. And that feeling of perfectionism is a massive hold up, and it can really make you stuck, because if you're spending 2 hours focusing on the smallest detail, then that could have been 2 hours covering almost 2 modules of information. So you end up focusing on totally the wrong thing, and it feels like you're even more stuck than when you started. And then the next one is afraid of failure. So number 4 is afraid of failure. And this, again, is a huge one for most people. I think it really links to focusing on the wrong stuff as well. But being afraid of failure is a big thing in all of us. None of us want it. We all kind of doubt that we're ever going to be able to achieve what we set out to achieve. And quite often we kind of fear the fact that if we go for the exam, we fail the exam, what will happen to us? Like, are we tarred with it not being good enough? Are we terrified of just being judged and failing overall, and what that means for us and our own self-efficacy and our own self-worth? When I done my motorbike license, for example, I failed 4 times and spectacularly as well. So like each time I failed, I felt horrendous, and it really knocked my confidence. And I felt like I was doing so much to prepare for it, and I feared the failure so much that when I got into the compound to do my motorbike test and the cones were all lined up, the thing that I did most was, because I was trembling with fear, like the sweaty palms, the sort of feeling in my stomach, that clenching feeling, I basically had to do a slalom. It was one of the first parts of the whole test. You had to do a slalom around the cones, and I knew that I couldn't touch the cones and I couldn't put my foot down. So I needed enough speed to go through. And every time that's the one I failed on, because I was trembling so much. I was so scared of failing. I was so scared of being that person that took so many chances to pass, that I sabotaged myself, and I basically would either ride straight into the cone or I'd put my foot down. And yet when I was out riding on my own, I was absolutely fine. When I was on a real road, I was fine. But it was that fear of failure that made me fail each time. So as much as possible, you've got to just allow yourself some acceptance of whatever will be, will be. You might fail, you might pass. If you've done everything you can and you can keep your calm as best as possible, then you really will be able to hold it together. And if you do freak out and fear that failure, then you're you're realistically putting yourself more at a chance of failing because of how you feel in that anxious state. So number 4 is that one of the reasons why you might be stuck in your revision is because you're fearing failure too much. Number 5 is that you're not giving yourself time off. You're not allowing recovery. So let's go back to that same example of your 10K race and you want that PB. If you don't allow rest days, if you don't allow time off to recover, then you're not going to achieve that goal. So it's not just about the work you do, it's about the recovery as well. And that same applies for your brain. It's no different. It needs time off. It needs time to relax. So if you are feeling stuck in your revision, you need to grab one of these 5 things and use those 5 things to now transform you and make you feel unstuck. So which of these 5 is you? Just drop a little comment underneath. Is it that you don't have a goal? Is it that you're using tactics and not strategies? So remember that was about the finite detail. You're using things like mock questions and videos, but not actually putting it all together into one strategy. Is it that you're focusing on the wrong stuff? So like the finite detail, maybe you're searching for 2 hours all on the finest detail of sliding filament theory. Is it that you're afraid of failure, like I was, and that's making you feel petrified and making you feel physically anxious and stuck? Or is it that you're just going too much at it and you haven't had a rest? Drop a comment, which of those 5 are you doing at the moment? Now, whichever of those it is, it's really important that you follow that strategy. I'm going to say that's probably the most important part of it. You're following the strategy the whole way through. And that strategy is based on knowing what content you need to know for your exam and then learning that in a strategic way. And that's why on our Revision Mastery Bootcamp, we combined all of the information that you need to know for your exam, so you don't get distracted by going off onto YouTube, so that you don't kind of have to search in lots of different places, and you just know the information you need to know. But then we put it in a structure, and we got tons of bonuses that will help you structure that over a time frame, whether it's 4 weeks or 8 weeks, and you can adapt that according to when your exam is. So it literally has all of those things so that you don't get stuck. And then if you're not stuck, you're making huge momentum going forwards every single day. And that means you stop wasting time, you stop wasting energy, and most of all, you stop that anxious feeling that you aren't doing enough, because you know it's proven that you are doing enough. So that's why we put together the Revision Mastery Bootcamp, mostly to alleviate that anxiety feeling that you're stuck and that you're not making any headway and that you're going to fail. So we remove all of that. The Revision Mastery Bootcamp is on the link below. You can literally click the link, go through, have a look at the Revision Mastery Bootcamp. There's different ones depending on which subject you're doing as well. So hit that, have a good look through, and you get lifetime access on there as well. So there's no stress about when your exam is. You can take your time and you can strategically work towards that end goal. So what I want to hear from you is which of these 5 areas are you stuck on? I've got a few comments coming in now. I can kind of see all those different areas that you're stuck on. And how are you going to overcome them? If you do have any questions as well, just drop those in the comments too. And I'm going to look back through those now, and I'll type my answers in just a second. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you haven't hit like and you haven't shared this with somebody that will benefit from this video, go ahead and do that as well. Like I said, there is a link with this video for the Revision Mastery Bootcamp. So just go straight in and have a look through, see if that's something that is going to really help you get unstuck from your revision right now. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.